he was asked, when will you be able to play that style of football with United as he did with Ajax? And he said, never. We will never play that football. Those were different players. That's not why I came here. We're playing different football than that Ajax because I have to, because I can't play the same way. The players decide how you play. That is mental, right? That is insane because that, for me, no, there is no hope because he's admitting
that to me. I'm trying without sounding like I'm defending him because I'm not. Because coming out saying that is basically you saying that you haven't got the resources. Because it is to do with that. Because he's another manager on a list where he has a list of players that all get linked with, and he doesn't get any of them, and doesn't help. And he's having to adapt to what he's got. But when you look at managers, for example, like De Zerbi at Brighton, they're none of his players, and he's got them playing the way he wants to play.
Also,
that's the difference between good managers, though.
I'm just going to disagree with you slightly because he has been given a lot of. He's been given Anthony. He's been given Onana, Martinez, Malacia, Eriksen, players who have this Ajax DNA or literally were from his Ajax team, or players who can play that way. As I say, with from the Dutch league, Eriksen with those Ajax connections. So he's bringing in all these players. We assumed to play this Ajax style of football because you're signing your players from Ajax, so you must be trying to go towards that. Frenkie de Jong was the player he was so desperate to get, the player you might associate the most with that style of football. And now, conversely, he's saying, well, actually, no, we can't play that style of football. Mate, no Man United manager since Fergie has had as much of a say in the transfers than you have. There is no way that Joel Glazer is sitting there going, oh yeah, I really want Malacia from Feyenoord or wherever he went from. I really want Martinez from Ajax. These are his players that splashing out 80 million on Anthony. That is your player to play that style of football. And now seemingly, I actually can't figure out what he's talking about.
I agree with that. I agree that he has had the most say because these are players he's signing that are his players. Like no other managers have had that because again, all the managers that have been signed, all the managers that they've had United since Fergie have been past it in a way where it's like they're not signing style players, they're just signing players for the sake of players. Whereas, he's getting, like you say, he's getting the players to play his way. And now he said that, only thing I can think of is he's going, it's not enough that I'm not getting anything else. I'm just going to have to figure it out as I go along now. But it's like, well, you might as well quit then. If you've been told when you get the job that this is what you're getting, and in the second season, again, like every other United manager, you haven't got what you've wanted, then you might as well step away because it's like, right, someone else is going to have to deal with them. Because if I can't push my philosophy on this team, then what's the point of managing them? Yeah,
and look, there's not. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Assuming that Ten Hag came here to want to play Ajax football because. I've read like some stuff like pieces on him recently, and people analyze him as more of an Ancelotti sort of manager, where he doesn't really have an ideology in the same way that Guardiola or Klopp have, where it's deep rooted in certain principles. Ten Hag is much more adaptable, flexible. He works with what he's got. This is according to their analysis, which is fine. That's absolutely fine to have that, but it's so untrue to suggest that Ten Hag didn't come to United and didn't try to play that Ajax football initially. If you remember the first two games of his tenure, where he
tried to do it, he didn't work.
And we saw De Gea trying to play out from the back. We saw him trying to play Eriksen as a false nine or as like a six.
Eriksen, basically, he tried to use De Gea as Onana and Eriksen as De Jong. What can I do with this? And it went completely wrong, and he binned it off straight away. So
he clearly, in my opinion, did come here to try to play that.
Well, let's be fair, right? If you've just won 4 out of 5 league titles or whatever with a team, and you've built this squad. As soon as you go to a new club, you're going to do that. Like, it makes sense to do that. And he binned it off within 2 games. So he knew he hasn't got the space. And I agree.
That's fine. But again, that's at odds with what he says here, because he says, this is not why I came here. So he's saying here But his original plan was never to play like that, which is bollocks, because as we've just established, the games against Brighton and Brentford, when it was a disaster, because, De Gea isn't Onana, and as you say, Eriksen isn't Frankie de Jong or whatever, and Maguire isn't De Ligt, it went terribly, but clearly that was the idea. And again, if he wants to be, let's put those two games to one side, pretend they didn't happen. Let's, again, for argument's sake, say, okay, so let's assume he is being pragmatic, flexible. He doesn't have to play or even want to play this Ajax style of football. Then why are you signing Antony and Martinez and Onana and Eriksen?
If your way is not to play the Ajax football, I'm pretty sure you can go and get bigger names than that, or better footballers,
or more appropriate footballers.
Because there would have been, I'm not even looking at the value. I'm not looking at the transfer fee of Antony, because that's the club more than Ten Hag. Sure. Let's be fair, if United had a sporting director and a competent thing, Antony would have been 30 million, 35 million. We know this. But I'm pretty sure you could have looked at other right wingers and got someone 100 times better who offers so much more than Antony. If you're getting Antony, then I think he's got him to do the work rate part, right? Which is fine. But there would have been better players out there to offer more. A right wing centre back, you got a very short centre back who is a ball playing centre back. Fine, I'm pretty sure there's better ones out there than that. Because you've gone to Ajax to get them, there must be, like you said, there must be a reason why out of everyone. Is it because there's no players don't want to join United at the moment? These better players, and this is the best you can get, is players who want to. Has he come in to actually, get rid of these sour toxicity in the squad? Because in the past he has been a manager to kind of alienate players because they're arseholes pretty much, and they're affecting the squad. I don't know. But coming out in public and saying these things it's just dangerous game. And you've kind of, if the players see that, I'd be like, so what are we doing then?
Exactly. It's insane to me. So that seems to suggest that, okay, so what he's doing right now, the more counter-attacking, transitional, direct football, that is what he wants to do. So why would you sign Antony, who can't do that? That's not his game plan. Why would you sign Onana to a ball-playing player if all you want to do is go direct and be transitional? Why bother? What's the point?
Exactly.
And then you sign the likes of Casemiro and Mason Mount, who are, again, total opposite players in terms of that philosophy. If I was, again, I'm not, Ten Hag shouldn't be sacked because sacking him wouldn't do anything, but because, that you still have all the squad issues, even worse squad issues now that I don't even know what the squad's going towards. But for me, this is it's almost like, where is the hope? What's the future? What's the aim? What's the point?
Me personally, I think United will need. I might backtrack on some of my comments I made in past weeks there, but I don't care.
That's fine.
I think what the club need is if these things about Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in are true about him, taking over the sporting side of things. I think we need to get rid of this kind of favoritism attitude. Because if you look at Tottenham, for example, right, this season they had a great start to the season. We won't say that they're up and top 4 races and things like that because it's very early. But Postecoglou is allowed to come in. He's binned off the captain and the goalkeeper. Happy to completely just put him on the bench straight away within the first season. He has changed 3 of the back 4. Well, Porro came last season, but he's changed through the back 4, and his midfield's completely different. He has dumped in players to play what he wants to do, and that's what United's needed, because that's what all these other managers are doing. But we've seen so many players in this United squad that have gone through 3 or 4 managers. It's not. I think this attachment to these players and he's not bad, we'll keep him, is because they're not being allowed to just dismantle it. That's what he needs. He needs sporting people above to dismantle the team and be like, right, for example, Delo, he ain't good enough, we'll get someone else in. And these players where people go, what's the point? He's half decent. Half decent's not United. It's not good enough. It needs a complete dismantle.
Yeah.
And it's not happening.
It's not happening. As I say, if I was a United fan, I'd be very concerned because I don't know what they're working towards anymore. I thought the point of bringing in Ten Hag was to play that style of football. He's come out and said, well, actually, no. So
I think everyone thought Ten Hag coming in was to give United, because like we say, though, over the last few years, United have had no identity of what football they're going to play. Ten Hag's come in, sign players. Is there an identity here now? And now he's saying that's not what we're doing. It's like, right, so what we're doing then? That's the question that you get from it, isn't it? But I
feel like I don't know. For me, again, if I was a United fan, for me, that's like strike one. Because that is a terrible thing to say, in my opinion. And if there was a better manager out there, the only reason to keep him, in my opinion, now, if I was a United fan, is because it won't solve anything, because there's no one. First of all, there's no one else really out there. But secondly, because you still got players left over from Louis van Gaal, so it would just be adding to the chaos.
That's what I mean. Like these,
so you might as well stick with it.
Exactly. It's like you're kind of halfway there, and without obviously. But I'm not going to blame ownership or anything like that. But it needs 3 years on the trot of a manager getting what he wants over 3 years, and that's not happened since Fergie. And until that happens, I don't think there's no solution.